Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Sports Legends of the Carolinas. I'm your host, Scott Fowler, sports columnist for the Charlotte Observer, where I've worked since 1994. And in this podcast, I'm seeking out some of my very favorite sports legends and asking them to tell the stories behind their rise to iconic status. For this interview, we're so happy to have former NFL and NC State star wide receiver Torry Holt. Torry Holt grew up in Gibsonville, North Carolina, starred for the Wolfpack, and was drafted number 6 overall by the St. Louis Rams in 1999.
Running down the field, makes the catch. Got it! He's got it! Touchdown! Spectacular play by Torry Holt. A juggling 67-yard bomb.
Holt quickly won a Super Bowl as a rookie and became an essential part of an offense called the Greatest Show on Turf. Now 47 years old, Holt has moved back to the Raleigh area where he and his brother Terrence Holt, also a former NFL player, are involved in a variety of business and charity ventures. We caught up with Torry in Charlotte for this interview. He was on the Charlotte 49ers college campus as part of his role as an NFL Global Flag Football Ambassador for USA Football. And I'll go ahead and warn you, the interview was conducted outside with flag football games going on everywhere. So there is some background noise. My apologies in advance for that, but I think you'll still enjoy this conversation very much. And don't forget, you can also see an edited version of this interview at charlotteobserver.com/sportslegends. Torry Holt, next on Sports Legends of the Carolinas.
Torry, welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, Scott. Appreciate it.
It's a real pleasure to have you. You've always been one of my very favorite football players. So smooth.
That's changed.
Oh, is that right? Still that way. Okay, good. Well, let me start there, though, because some in our audience wouldn't have seen you play live.
Yeah.
Describe yourself as a player.
Oh, man. I was, you mentioned it, smooth, determined, competitive, hard worker, and love football. And love sports in general, but obviously love football and had a lot of fun, man. I enjoyed competing and having fun and doing what I had dreamed of doing since I was a little kid. Growing up in Gibsonville, North Carolina, running around in the backyard or running around out in the streets, in the neighborhood, throwing the ball up to myself, shooting the basketball, throwing a tennis ball against the apartment buildings where Joyce would come out and say, "Hey, can you stop throwing that ball? I'm trying to watch TV here." But no, just loving the game of football. And then, having so many folks that come before me, like my uncles and aunties who played athletics, guys in the neighborhood that played athletics that I looked up to and wanted to emulate. And then obviously the guys in the collegiate and the pro level, particularly Tony Dorsett, Art Monk, Jerry Rice, Mike Clips, to give you a name of some guys that I watched and emulated, and wanted to share that experience. Wanted to see what it was to be at that level. So that's me, man. That's me, and again, and really, and was very, very conscious and very aware of sports and what it did for my life, and handling it with care. And now I have an opportunity now to pass down that knowledge of the game that I'm also grateful for as well.
Speaking of, we're in Charlotte today, and tell us why you particularly are in Charlotte.
Yeah, I'm here with USA Football, promoting flag football, which flag football has taken off. It's at a whole new level now, both men and women. And I get a chance to come here and share my experience of how I played the game, the skills and what it takes to play the game and play it at a high level. And then also to encourage these men and women to keep going. Everybody can't play collegiate. Everyone can't play professional and play at that level, but there is a game for someone, and that's flag football. And what I've enjoyed the most the last 2 days that I've been here is the strategy and the skill is at an all-time high. Again, both men and women.
Yeah, it's interesting to watch the women play, for me particularly, to see how far that game was
progressed. Yes, yeah. And the women, you know, listening to them and watching them play yesterday, they talk as much junk as the men. I mean, they just as confident about this game as the men are, which is good. You know, I think it's a good sign. I have young ladies, I have daughters myself. I've run across young women all the time that are athletic and are expressing themselves through athletics, and flag football gives those women an opportunity to do that.
Tell me more about growing up in Gibsonville.
Small town, everybody knew each other, a family atmosphere. Though everyone wasn't kin to one another, but it felt like that. So if you got out of line, you had permission. The adults had permission to get on your butt, and then they'll go and tell your mom and dad, you know, that they got on you. Actually, they will walk you to your mom and dad and say, "Hey, this is what was going on, and here's what I had to say."
Shame.
Yeah. But no, a small town, loving town. I grew up pulling tobacco when I was young. I grew up working at Burger King, which is right off of I-40 there. I-85.
Gibsonville is near Greensboro.
Gibsonville is near near Wisset.
Okay.
And it's near Greensboro and near Burlington as well.
Okay.
So a small town and a humbling experience, man. You know, not growing up in the big city. Obviously, there's some challenges growing up in the country, but we had everything we needed. Like I said, the families were good. My friends and cousins and everybody that I grew up with were all fantastic, and it really made me who I am. Humble beginnings, and I never forgot where I came from. I tried not to forget where I came from, and you know, Gibsonville holds dear to my heart. So many lessons from growing up in Gibsonville.
You were pulling tobacco, you mean, in the summer?
Yeah. So when I got around 14, 15 years old, I didn't have a works permit. Because, you know, you couldn't get a works permit until you were 16, I think it was, maybe 15 or 16. So, you know, I wanted some money, I wanted some new cleats, I wanted some new shoes, I wanted, you know, things that most teenagers want. Well, my mom and dad was like, "Hey, if you want those things, then you need to go out and pull tobacco. You need to find a summer job." So Marty, who was our group leader, who gathered everybody up in the neighborhood to go out pull tobacco, showed us how to do it. And so I would go out in the summers, 5 hours a day. I was making $5 an hour, so I would come out of there $25, $30, you know, for the day. Put a little bit away, go down to Jack's Barbecue, get me a big boy, some fries and a sweet tea to treat myself for the hard work that I did. And then the rest I would give to my mom, just trying to build up some money, you know, to buy some cleats or to buy some tennis shoes or buy some school clothes or just buy something for myself. And then if my mom or dad, if they needed the money, they could also use it as well. But yeah, that was tough work, but it really shaped and molded me, and it also constantly reminded me that I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. I did not want to pull tobacco for the rest of my life, so I better had make sure that I took care of my grades as best I could, take care of my athletics, and just try to go from there. But tobacco really shaped me and made me the guy who I am now.
You literally grew up on Tobacco Road. It sounds like.
Yeah, I did. Absolutely.
Tell me about your recruitment. It wasn't a straightforward process, right? There was a year in between where you went to a military academy.
So I didn't qualify academically coming out of Eastern Guilford High School. And my teachers and parents and friends and family members were telling me all the time, take care of your grades, Torry, take care of your grades. And I'm young, hard-headed, thought I knew everything, and thought that just my athletics alone would be enough, would take me to where I wanted to go. But I quickly got humbled when I didn't qualify academically at Eastern Guilford, and there was no scholarships for me. Here is this talented guy, all conference, player of the year, all these accolades that I was able to garner while playing high school athletics, but I didn't have a home, I didn't have a place to go and continue on those athletics. So I was humbled pretty quickly. But Hargrave Military Academy came along, myself and my high school coach at the time, David Vaughn, thanks to Coach Vaughn, thanks to Coach Westmoreland and all those folks that helped me to identify Hargrave Military Academy. Went up there for a visit. Everything worked out. They presented some scholarship dollars for me, and my family had to come up with the rest. And went to military academy for a year. Now, my dad is an ex-Marine. My dad, Odell Sharpler Jr. So he loved it. The whole, he couldn't get me to Hargrave Military Academy quick enough.
Is it in North Carolina?
It's in Virginia.
Virginia.
Yeah, it's in Virginia. And
he was good. You were going to get some military discipline.
So I got military discipline, and I needed it because I was a little goofy, silly, carefree, didn't take a whole lot serious. Went to military academy, got the discipline that I needed, got the structure that I needed, was able to get my SAT scores up, passed, and NC State, before I went, came down, signed a letter, they offered me a letter of intent. I signed it, and went there, and when I got there, and I was doing well in my grades, prepping for my SATs, had all these other colleges, Syracuse, Carolinas, everyone, Tennessee, everyone out in the country was talking to me, wanted me to come to their school. But I kindly declined. And I told our head coach at the time, Coach Joe Freeland, that I didn't want to take any more, I didn't want to do any visits, I didn't want to accept any letters, that I was going to NC State. The reason why is because NC State stuck with me, the loyalty that they showed, the connection that I had built with Coach Caldwell and Coach Simmons, who recruited me in high school as well as at Hargrave Military Academy. Checking in on my family at the time. My mother was sick, battling with cancer, so NC State would, check in and see if she was okay, and that meant a lot to me. That showed me that they cared. There was loyalty there. So I stuck with this. I got my SAT scores. First people I called was obviously my parents, my family, and then I called the folks at NC State and said, hey, I'm in and I'm ready to come. And so the rest was history after that.
That was Mike O'Kane was the
So that was Mike O'Kane. Yeah. So head coach Mike O'Kane was the head coach at the time. Coach O'Kane was so good to us, so good to me, and so good to our family. And I knew I wanted to go play for him. And when I got there, one of the things I also loved about Coach was he had an open door policy. So his door was open. You needed to come in and talk to him about anything that was going on. You could come in and chat with him. And then Coach also would come down in the weight room. He worked out on the Stairmaster. Coach O'Kane had some of the his legs were phenomenal. He played football himself, but his legs were, and it all came from the Stairmaster. So I used to watch him. I'm like, okay, if Coach's legs look like that, I want my legs to look like that. I'm going to start doing the Stairmaster. So I started adding the Stairmaster to my routine, but a lot of that came from his influence. But Coach O'Kane was phenomenal. His coaching staff was phenomenal, really good to me and my family. And I knew I wanted to go there and play. And he was loyal to me. He stuck with me. He encouraged me. He challenged me. He got on me. He reminded me of why I was there and the potential and the opportunity that I had if I continued to grow as a player. And it all worked out. So shouts out to Coach O'Kane. And like I said, Coach Caldwell, Coach Simmons, all those. Coach William Hicks, who was our strength coach. They poured a lot into me, which gave me the confidence to get it back out.
You mentioned your mother, and I know she passed. Did she pass away while you were in college?
She passed away while I was in college. Yes, my sophomore year, which was tough. That was a tough time. It was right around the holidays, December the 27th, 1996. So I'm just getting my feet wet in school and really trying to establish myself. And then the passing of my mother was tough, traumatic, and I didn't know how to deal with it. Neither of my family, my brother Terrence, my sister Tasha, my pops, Odell, my grandmother, my aunties, uncles. None of us knew how to deal with it at the time. And there was a point in time where I didn't want to go back to school because again, mothers tend to be the center of the family, the bedrock, and my mother was hardworking, loving, encouraging, loved her kids. So when she passed away, a part of me left. So I started questioning if I wanted to go back to school or not, if I wanted to go on and pursue athletics. Because I was a large part of the reason why I was doing it was because of my mom and my dad, and with her not being there, I was like, well, why should I go on? Why should I keep going? But my aunties and my coaches at NC State talked to me and said, hey, look, you coming back to university, fulfilling your dream as a student athlete, playing athletics, that's what your mother wanted. It's probably best if you come back to honor her. And I sat down and I thought about it, cried about it, talked to my family about it, and decided to change my mind and go back to university. And I went back, and boy, when I went back, things changed for me. It really did. I was, initially I was angry, I was upset. I was a little bitter because, obviously, my teammates, they would have their family and have their parents and stuff there, and my mom wasn't there, so that bothered me. But it also fueled me to really get in the gym more, get in the film room more, listen better, take care of my academics a lot better than what I was doing. And so I took a negative experience and created and made something positive out of it, and allowed that fuel and my mom not being there really propelled me to the next level.
Boy, did you ever go to the next level. You were...
Throw to Torry Holt, complete. Holt in a foot race with Crutchfield, and Holt is going to win it. Touchdown NC State, 85 yards downfield.
We'll be back right after this. Welcome back.
Tell me about what you would consider your favorite game or two at NC State.
Oh, wow. I have several, but the two that stick out was, I think it was my sophomore, junior year, we went to Syracuse, played Syracuse. And Syracuse was ragging on us, man. And they wasn't giving us a chance. Heck, I don't even know if we felt like we had a chance. That was Donovan McNabb, Conrad, Donovan Darius. I mean, they were loaded with talent. And we played them, and we kept it close. And it ended up going in overtime. I caught the touchdown in overtime for us to win that game.
They didn't call the timeout. Barnett.
Got it! Wolfpack win the ball game on a two-point conversion in overtime. Torry Holt, an incredibly gutsy call.
And I remember sprinting down Syracuse's sideline, and I flipped the ball to Coach Pascaloni, I think his name was. I just flipped the ball to him and his team because they was disrespecting us. And I was never a guy who did a whole lot of trash talking or disrespecting my opponent. But that particular day, I had enough.
You were tired of it.
I was tired of it. And the adrenaline of the game and what had happened. So that's what that was. So that was one. And then obviously the second one is the year we beat Florida State at Carter Finley.
The most emotional days of the year when an ACC team takes on Florida State. And amidst the fireworks, here comes the Wolfpack.
60,000, 70,000 was in that. Obviously made their way back to the stadium to see that victory. The year before, I had scored 5 touchdowns, as you mentioned early in the opener. And that game, I had 2 touchdowns.
See, they've got to now start thinking it's second and long and start thinking about looking for Torry Holt again. Barnett, there's Holt out there, makes the catch. Holt to the score. Torry Holt to the end zone.
They were pivotal touchdowns, really changed and put the game. And the last one that I caught the post really sealed that game. But winning that game in Carter Finley for our fans, for our city, it changed. I think it changed the trajectory of NC State's football because we proved that we could beat the bully.
Yeah.
That we could beat
Florida State back then was the bully.
I tell the young guys that are there now at State and young folks that are coming through, look, Florida State is good. They got a lot of talent, and Coach Rober's doing a heck of a job with them. But them teams that we played against, Derek Brooks, Ward Dunn, oh my gosh, all those guys, was a whole nother level of competition, a whole nother level of talent. They were pros. They were just on the collegiate level. They were already pros. So to get that win was huge. Like I said, I thought it changed the trajectory of NC State. I certainly believe it changed the trajectory of our recruiting. We started getting so many other players from around the country wanting to come to NC State. I think at that moment they believed that they could win and that they could be good. So those are the two games that stick out to me, but particularly that Florida State game.
Oh yeah, that was, and y'all beat them pretty handily, if I remember.
Yeah,
hadn't they said the year before when you scored the 5? Well, we were way ahead.
Right.
Wasn't there some disrespect there a little bit?
They were well ahead. That they had in like their second, third string play. We heard all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But we came away from that game like, you know what? If we take care of the ball, we get some turnovers, we can beat them. Like, we really felt that. On the way home, we really felt that. And that carried on into the off season, carried on to the summer, carried on into training camp, getting ready for my senior year, and we caught them early. Now, initially, they bombed on us. I think Bernice Cole was called a deep post. The crowd was quiet. And I'm sitting there saying, oh, shit. There you go. But that went away really quickly because of the confidence that we had gotten the year before and during training camp and in the summer. And we went out there, man, and we handled business, and we caught a flow. And next thing you know, we were up 17-7, I think it was, something like that. And then Jamie threw me a deep post, took us to 24-17 or 24-7, whatever it was. So yeah, to your point, we felt like we beat them pretty handily that day. Our defense was phenomenal. I think they had 5-7 interceptions in that game. So we had a lot of possessions offensively. And then we were rolling offensively. Like, we felt like with the talent that we had, Coach Kaiser called a heck of a game, and we were able to execute. And then Jamie was phenomenal. The offensive line was phenomenal in that game. But I always tell people that was a total team win. I know I received a lot of accolades and a lot of praise for those my junior year and senior year for playing against Florida State. But I always said that was a team win. That my senior year, total team win, both defensively, offensively, and special teams. We played the best football that we could have played collectively, and came out with a win.
NC State sitting on a 4-point lead. Play action for Jamie Barnett. Big rush on. Hit as he threw, but it's complete to Holt. Holt all the way in. Touchdown, NC State. Touchdown, Torry Holt. How did he come up with that football?
Let's talk about the pros story in your career there. You were drafted number 6 overall in 1999. As you entered the league, what sort of goals did you have for yourself?
Number one was I wanted to prove that I was worthy of being the number 6 pick overall. Because a lot of people in St. Louis didn't know who I was. Being out in the Midwest, they didn't watch football in the South.
Right.
It was all Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa, all the teams in the Midwest. So a lot of people was like, who is he? Who is this kid from?
How do you spell that name?
Right. Who is he? From where? Where is he from? So I wanted to prove early on that I was worthy of the number 6 pick, and then I wanted to prove to the folks in St. Louis that I could play. And that was on my mind all the time. And it was my conversation with my agent was, look, I want to try to get my deal done as quickly as I can. A fair deal, good deal, because I want to get in. I want to be at camp, because I want to be able to pick up the offense. I want to be able to get with my teammates. I want to be able to get involved, get immersed in the culture, and that all happened. And I was able to pick up the playbook fairly quick, which allowed me to play faster, really showcase my skills pretty quickly. And I just remember in training camp, man, just going at it, man, just competing and just having a good time and making plays. And Ray Agnew, who was a former NC State, who's mentor of mine and still a good friend of mine, loved Ray to death. And he would come to me and say, on the low key, say, hey, Torry, look, a couple of the veterans are saying, this kid, this was play. And that just gave me confidence. It's just giving me the fuel that I needed to go out and prove my worth. But that was the thing that was on my mind, was proving that I was worthy of being 6th pick overall, proving to the folks in St. Louis that I could play, and then more importantly, proving to my teammates that I could play and that I was a good teammate. Though I was a rookie, I can take direction. I'm a team player, but I can play.
Warner back to throw, under pressure, throws the end zone, touchdown Rams, Torry Holt.
And I think I was able to I think I was able to win them over in my rookie year, particularly in training camp. And then, as a rookie, they used to haze us back then.
Oh, I bet. What'd they do to you?
They don't do any of that now.
Yeah, no.
They used to tie guys up to the goalpost, put the water down your pants, put icy hot in your jock strap. We had all that stuff happen. We used to have to sing at lunch, breakfast, lunch. Yeah. So when they would ask me to get up and sing, because I like to sing, no problem. I'd jump right up and sing. So my song was One for the Money by Horace Brown. And I sang that at lunch one day.
Do a little of it now?
M-O-N-E-Y, it's all good with me. Finally I can afford a life of luxury. So that line in itself,
that's awesome.
They all stood up. I knew I had them. They all stood up. I finished the song, and they never asked me to sing again.
Oh yeah, because it didn't bother you.
It didn't bother me.
They didn't.
So they was like, he's a confident kid. Yeah. He doesn't mind performing in front of his teammates. He doesn't mind taking direction. And he's pretty damn good as a player and a singer.
What a team. You were joining there, too.
I mentioned Ray Agnew, who's a mentor of mine, still is. I love him to death. Kurt Warner was there. Kurt wasn't playing at the time. Trent Green was awesome. He was our starting quarterback. Marshall Faulk, Adam Timmerman, Orlando Pace, Isaac Bruce, Ricky Prohl. I had so many good veterans to show me how to be a pro on the offensive side of the ball as well as the defensive side of the ball. And then our coaches, Coach Frank Gantz, Coach Marks, Al Saunders, who was my position coach, great positional coach, great coach. And then Dick Vermeil, who oversaw everything. And the environment that Coach Vermeil and the culture that he had established there, though they wasn't winning, was great because the veterans led everything. They ran the show. So again, for me, it was all about making sure that I had the respect of the veterans. Because again, that gave me the confidence to go out and play at a high level fairly quickly.
When you raised your hands there, I noticed your finger. Is that from catch or what? Did you break it?
So
what's going on?
Catching balls over the years. Yeah. So it's 2005, 2006, we're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm blocking the Shea Townsend. Marshall is coming. Shea went to get away. My finger got caught in his jersey. It popped out. I popped it back in. I was known for that. Popped it back in, ran over to the sideline, taped it up, ran back in and played the game. So just over the years, that was 2005. So I went on and played another 6 years with those dislocations. So I've had so many, there's no ligaments in this finger now. So gravity is naturally pulling it to the left, so that's why it is the way it is. But I say this is my battle wound. I can have surgery on it, but I'm tired of surgeries. I've had so many surgeries, knees, shoulders, fingers. I got 2 screws in this particular hand. So it is the way it is now.
So you joined that to get back to the Rams, but it was your first year, right, that you guys won the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And Warner took over mid-season or something?
So Warner took over. So Trent got hurt in the second, third preseason game.
Oh, okay.
And then that's when
he had the whole season.
Kurt came on.
Right. And then it just took off.
And when he stepped in, we didn't skip a beat. Yeah. And I think a large part of that is because Kurt was ready. Yeah. Certainly we were ready. Had the skill. His Arena League football skill set fit the type of offense that we ran because it was all about time and precision, getting the ball out quick, throwing the ball to spots, throwing it deep. Kurt had one of the most beautiful deep balls that I've ever seen in my life. And then he also had the talent around him. Marshall, Isaac, myself, Arthur King, Ricky Prohl, Orlando Pace, Adam Timmerman. We were loaded with talent. So he was immersed with guys who thought the way that he thought and played at the level that he could play at. We all played at a very elite level. So it was a perfect marriage. But my rookie year was special. Making it to the Super Bowl in my first year, having success in that Super Bowl game, I'm thinking to myself, Scott, this is how it's going to be every year.
I bet. Well, you had a 100-yard game in the Super Bowl and won it. Yeah. As a rookie, you probably thought you were going to win 5
I'm like, we're going to win several of these. Yeah. When you're thinking about the talent we had, London Fletcher, Leonard Little, Kevin Carter on the defensive side of the ball, Keith Lau, Todd Light, Dre Bly, Destin Clean. I go on and on. There's talent all over the field. I'm thinking like, okay, I can get used to this. My second year, I was humbled pretty quickly because things changed. Free agency, you know, guys may not be as motivated as they were prior years. Teams get a beat on you, need a little bit of luck. We wasn't getting that kind of luck, so it was different. But ended up going back. My third year, going back to another Super Bowl. I'm saying, okay, this is what I'm saying to myself. Okay, this is what I thought it was going to be like. But no, I played in 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, and I never made it back. I never made it back to the Super Bowl. I played 11 years in the National Football League, and out of those first 3 years, I made it to 2 Super Bowls, and after that, I never made it back. So I say all that to say, I'm glad that I was in the moment the year that we won, and I was in the moment the year that we lost. I can sit here and honestly say to you, I have no regrets. I don't sit around and say, man, I wish I would have did this better, or I wish I would have done that. I did it. I did it all, and I try to do it all at a high level, and do it all with the thought that, hey, yes, I want to get back here every year, but there could be a chance that I don't, so let me enjoy it. Let me not take anything for granted, and I didn't. So I can sit here with confidence and say, in both of those Super Bowls, I didn't take anything for granted. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Bulger fires left side. Torry Holt, acrobatic catch. Touchdown.
We'll be back right after this. Welcome back.
Did you, on a different subject, your brother played in the NFL as well.
Yeah.
Did you two ever play on the same team at any level?
In college, my senior year, he was a freshman, but he redshirted, so he didn't dress out. But one game, I think it was the game against, it was a game against Syracuse. My senior year, Syracuse came down and played us on a Thursday night. Incredible atmosphere in Carter Finley on Thursday nights. I think we got one of the best atmospheres in all of college football on Thursday nights. Incredible atmosphere. So the coach decided to dress a couple freshmen, redshirt freshmen that game. Well, my brother happened to be one that got invited to dress out. Now he was a safety, but that particular game he dressed out as a wide receiver. So he was in the receiver line with me as we were warming up and getting ready for the game.
Nice. Yeah.
Whole time, man, I'm choking up the whole time, in tears the whole time. Just watching him, seeing where we come from, watching him as a young kid, seeing his development, and then being out there on the field with him at the same time was special. That was really, really, really special. And then he went on and had a hell of a collegiate career. Went on and got drafted in the 5th round to the Detroit Lions. That was my senior year. His redshirt freshman year was the time when we were together.
You have a number. You mentioned the great Rams teams and all those great players, and you have made the North Carolina Sports Hall of Fame, NC State's Hall of Fame, many, many Hall of Fames. The Pro Football Hall of Fame has eluded you. So far, you've been a finalist, extremely close. How much does that bother you?
It's challenging. It is. Just being transparent, being very candid with you. It has its challenges. But I'm also thankful to be mentioned as a potential Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's really cool. There's been 20+ thousand men that's played our game. I think there's 370 some now, I think, that's crossed the finish line in our Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's an elite group. That's tiny. So to be a finalist 4 years in a row, it's really cool. But I'm ready, man. I feel like it's my time. I feel like I've earned the opportunity to be voted in as a Pro Football Hall of Famer. And the reason why I say that is because of the responses that I get from guys that are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame and then the guys that I played against. The respect that we show one another, the respect that they have for the way that I played the game. I'm in the North Carolina Sports Hall of Fame, as you mentioned. I'm in the Guilford County Sports Hall of Fame. I'm in the College Football Hall of Fame. And a large part of that, large reason for that is my teammates. Always give shout out to my teammates. Always give thanks to my teammates and to my coaches that helped me get to that point. It's the same thing with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Great teammates that pushed me, showed me how to do it the right way. Great coaches, great competitors in the National Football League. But I was able to do it for a decade. I was on the all-decade team. I got some records still hold in the National Football League that no one has ever done before. I think I was like the fastest 10,000 yards ever in the league. Had 7 consecutive 1,300-yard seasons.
That's amazing.
I can go on in regards to the numbers and stats and accolades, but I think for me, getting the respect and the love and the appreciation from the guys that played the game, and more importantly from the guys that are considered the elite, which is the Pro Football Hall of Fame, is great. Now, once my name is called, and that gold jacket is put on, that will be the best feeling ever. And I've had some great moments, seeing my kids born, beating Florida State, as I mentioned earlier, winning the Super Bowl, becoming All-Pro, becoming All-Decade. All those things are great. But to be able to one day have the opportunity to put on that gold jacket, it takes me back to Gibsonville. It takes me back to Fuller Tobacco. Yeah. It takes me back to our recreation director, James Smith and Roy Williams. It takes me back to my first coaches, Scott and all those guys. My high school coaches, my college coaches. It'll be for them too.
Well, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. I know it must be frustrating.
Yeah, it's times, and particularly early on when I was first thrust into this, the early stages of the hall, it was frustrating because I didn't know the process. But now, understanding and learning more about the process, having that open dialogue with my presenter, Howard Balzer, having open dialogue with others that are involved with the Pro Football Hall of Fame to allow me to understand how the process works, has allowed me now to have a sense of resolve, calmness about how the process works. And I just got to sit back and trust the process. I got to allow the process to happen. But I think I have enough people that are championing for me. I need a few more because this past year was the first year that I had been voted down to the final 10. So that tells me. So I'm right there. So my presenter and Howard and I, we've been talking. So I'm right there. Now I got to get a few more folks to give me a few more votes to get me across the finish line.
It's like beating Florida State. You almost get there.
Almost get there, right?
You're going to do it one day, probably handle it.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you are doing now with your brother and in Raleigh, and I believe you're involved in some things in Charlotte as well.
Yes.
Give me a sense of Torry Holt today.
Torry Holt today, husband, father, man of faith, businessman, philanthropist as well, and really thankful and fortunate to be in business with my brother. I think that's really cool. And he's our leader. He's the president of Holt Brothers Inc. And Holt Brothers Inc. consists of Holt Brothers Construction, all commercial construction, Holt Brothers Foundation. Our foundation supports young kids with a parent or guardian that's battling cancer. All of us can resonate with that. We either have someone or know someone that's battling with cancer. Holt Brothers Football, which we put on football camps. We've had 7-on-7 tournaments. But that's Torry Holt today. NFL Legends community, helping our current and former players, particularly our former players, with their transition from the game of football. My job as an NFL Legends coordinator is to keep our former players engaged, active with their former teams. So I'm really excited about that. Been doing that now for 5-6 years now. And then recently becoming the USA Football Global Flag Football Ambassador.
Yeah.
So I wear a number of hats.
A lot of hats.
But all things that I enjoy doing, so it doesn't feel like work. I'm able to make an impact with our construction company on the state in terms of infrastructure. Seeing the buildings and seeing the things that we're involved in is really cool. I never thought in a million years that I would be involved in construction. But seeing the impact that we have on the state, the infrastructure is really cool. Our foundation piece gives us an opportunity to serve our community. I firmly believe that we're all here to serve at some capacity. It's up to you on how you want to do that. It's kept me sane. It's kept me humble. It's kept me active. It's kept me engaged. It's kept me in shape. It's kept me enthused. And it gives me an opportunity to come around with football, be around these young folks, and talk about football, but not only that, but talk about life. Because often they ask, well, what are you doing now? And I'm able to tell them how I transitioned from the game of football into this life of mine now as a father, husband, businessman, philanthropist.
Tell me about your children. How old are they?
So I have 3 kids. They're all at NC State.
There you go.
Go Pack. We all go to NC State. Go Pack. My son Braden is the oldest. He's 22 years old. He's in the civil engineering department at NC State. I have 2 daughters, Torry Brianna, who's a rising junior. She's on the soccer team at NC State. She's studying sports management and communications. And then my youngest daughter, Brooklyn, is a rising sophomore. She just finished her freshman year. She's also on the soccer team. I got 2 daughters that are playing on the soccer team at NC State. My youngest daughter, Brooklyn, started 17 games last year as a freshman. Was first team All-ACC academics. So very talented young lady. And I get an opportunity to travel around and see them play, soccer on the collegiate level.
Football. It's the rest of
the other football, right? Yeah. The other football,
right?
The others would say the most important football.
right. Yes.
But yeah, those my 3 kids, and like as I mentioned, my wife went to NC State as well. I met her at NC State. She played soccer.
Wow.
So
you guys really do bleed red.
Yeah. So we bleed red. We bleed red. My brother is married as well. His wife went to NC State. So it's a family affair. But no, thankful to be able to watch them come into their own. As I mentioned, my son is an engineer. Most folks ask me about my son. They say, does he play sports? I'm like, nah, he don't play sports. He was smarter than his dad. He used his brain. But he's an engineer, and as I mentioned, my 2 daughters as well. They're doing their thing with academics as well as athletics.
Last thing I ask you, and I ask this of all former NFL players who do for this series, how is your health, and do you have any concussion issues or any other sorts of nagging issues from the game?
I'm glad you asked that, Scott. I appreciate you asking that, because one of the things that I ask folks when I talk to them, particularly our former players, current and former players, is how are you doing? And I'm doing okay. I'm thankful. I'm healthy. I'm able to get up and move around. Now, my knees and my back and my hands and stuff sometimes give me issues, but that's just from the wear and tear of playing in the National Football League for 11 years, for over a decade, and the physicality that comes with that. But I'm able to move around. I'm healthy. I don't have to say this, but I just had my colonoscopy.
Oh, good for you. Yes.
Yeah. And that was clean.
Yeah, great.
So now I'm a big advocate of encouraging other men, particularly men of color, to go and make sure that they're taking care of their colonoscopy, make sure that they're taking care of their prostates and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, no, I got a pretty clean bill of health, and my goal is to keep it that way. And I try to make sure that I take care of my diet, try to exercise, try to make sure that I take care of my mental health as well. I try to make sure that I pray, and then my communication with my former teammates is critical. Because all our life we've been in the locker room, been involved with teams, had teammates. So I want to make sure that I keep that alive while I'm done playing. So for the most part, thanks for asking. I feel pretty good.
That's wonderful to hear. I had one more question for you. That this will be a thoughtful one, but you'll have a good answer. Since you know ACC so well and grew up watching, if you were going to construct a Mount Rushmore of ACC sports legends, players, coaches, anything, take yourself out of the mix, obviously, but pick before, and it can be just your personal favorites, but 4 of your favorite ACC sports legends of all time.
Dean Smith, Len Bias, Michael Jordan, Ralph Sampson, David Thompson.
You have a 5th Mount Rushmore. That's okay. It's your statue, so you can do what you want. You got to keep an NC State guy in there.
Got to keep an NC State guy. And he can actually go before a couple of those guys.
Right. Oh my goodness.
But
what a
the ACC.
So you were a big basketball guy.
Huge basketball.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, it was it was Rap Sampson, it was Lynn Bias. I mean, it was James Worthy. I mean, I could have added James Worthy in there.
Yes. Oh, Bias was amazing for people who haven't seen Bias.
Oh man, Lynn Bias was phenomenal, man. Chris Corciani, Rodney Monroe. I mean, the NC State guys. But I grew up watching ACC sports from a young kid, and I knew immediately if I had an opportunity to play collegiate sports, that was a conference that I wanted to go to. I just remember Raycom Sports and the commercials, and the sound, and just
Sail with the Pilot.
Oh yeah, man! Oh, it was fantastic. I was like, okay, if I'm fortunate enough, that's the conference that I want to go and play. Unfortunately, I was able to do that, and that's why I have so much pride in the ACC, and I tout them the way that I do. And I try to continue to stay around the ACC, certainly continue to stay around NC State as much as I possibly can. I just think it's a great conference with great coaches, great administration, great leadership. So no, ACC is the best in the land.
Well, Torry Holt, this has been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Scott. I appreciate that very much.
That's Torry Holt. I'm Scott Fowler. This is Sports Legends of the Carolinas. Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to Sports Legends of the Carolinas, a production of the Charlotte Observer. This show is produced by Lume Ali Sally, Jeff Seiner, and Cotta Stevens. The sports editor of the Charlotte Observer is Lydia Craver, and the executive editor is Raina Cash. Remember, you'll find much more about this interview and about all of our guests, including Steph Curry, Roy Williams, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Don Staley, in our Sports Legends book. Pre-order your copy now at sportslegendsbook.com. For lots more sports content and to continue supporting this kind of work, please visit charlotteobserver.com and consider a digital subscription. And connect with me on Twitter at Scott_Fowler or email at sfowler@charlotteobserver.com. See you next time.